What's up? This is Riley from Hudson Motors. Today we're here with our 1984 Chevy Blazer doing a front end or a front core support swap. This truck at some point in its life was swapped to a 1990s grill, and today we're going to swap it back to the 1984 core support. These are not interchangeable. The grills, the headlights are not interchangeable, and so if you're trying to do a restoration and your core support is thrashed, or your core support has a ton of holes drilled in it, or somebody's done what they've done to this truck and swapped in the 90s grill, then this is going to be applicable for you. This is also applicable for all square body pickup trucks and square body Blazers, Suburbans, so anything from 1973 to 1989. We're going to get into the core support and show you guys what it takes to take it off and everything that's going to go down with that one. For those of you who don't know, here at Hudson Motors, we give away classic trucks. We build and restore classic pickups, cool custom classic trucks, and we give them away. We sell merchandise on our website, so if you're interested in that, check it out and you can see more about what we're giving away. We are actually going to give this truck away, so watch out for that as well. So big thanks to Auto Metal Direct. They've supplied us today for this video with our core support, super high quality, really nice piece, nice black, so that if you just like, black behind your grill like I do, then you don't need to paint it, but they are primed and ready for paint as well. So really nice core supports and really high quality stuff. And if you're wanting to update your grill, like let's say you like the 90s grill, or if you want to make your truck look like a 70s truck, a single headlight, round headlight truck, this is all applicable. So you can use this in any step. A couple of tips and things like that before you get started. This is probably at least a two-man job, so you might want to get a buddy to help you out. We have our hood off before taking this video. We've also removed all of the grounds from the core support. You know how that goes. People just ground things to the core support. So we removed all the wiring, pulled the wires and the wire loom out from the core support just to make up free space. Our bumper's already off, and that's super easy. So bumper's just 6 bolts. We've got our radiator out as well. If you've got AC in your truck, you'll need to disconnect everything from your condenser. Probably be easiest to get your condenser out once your old core support is out. We're doing all new air conditioning and new battery and new radiator and all sorts of new stuff for this truck that we're going to put in after the core support's in. So we won't show you guys that in this video, but if you need to do that, you'll need to pull your radiator out and save your brackets and all of your hardware for that. But we've got all that out for this video just to make it nice and simple. This is pretty much just the core support in this video. Now before you start this, these trucks now, starting in 73 up to 89, these are 40, 50-year-old trucks now, and so your core support, I guarantee, is going to be freaking on there, really tight, and probably rusted on there a little bit. So I would suggest getting some PB Blaster or some WD-40 and soaking it for a couple days beforehand, just to make your life a whole lot easier to get this off. So once you've got your buddy lined up for Saturday, come to help you pull your core support off, I would say Thursday, start soaking your stuff so that you can get your nuts and bolts out nice and easy. Because you really don't want to break a bolt. This can turn into a very long job with some broken bolts. Just a tip before you get started. So for tools, this is going to be pretty much done with regular hand tools and maybe an impact or two. We've got just some end wrenches and ratcheting wrenches for sizes. Most of this is going to be 3/4 and 12 and 13 millimeters. So we've just got some swivels. Will make it a lot easier for you, especially getting the core support off of the frame. Some WD-40, some wire snippers, and that'll pretty much do it for you. So once you've got your bumper, your radiator, everything ready to go and disconnected, get your grill off. Every grill for these square bodies is different, but normally held on by just some sheet metal screws. Once you get your grill off and you're ready to get going, the bolts that you're gonna be pulling off there are 2 bolts that go through down into the frame and through the core support bushings and down into the frame. These are your 3/4 bolts. And then we have 9 bolts that hold the core support to the fenders and to the rest of the body. So you have 3 down on both sides of the fenders and then 3 underneath alongside the bottom of the core support. Those are 13 millimeters. So once you get those all out, the core support should just come right out, and be careful, don't scratch your paint, but core support should come out and you'll be ready to swap everything that you want off your old core support onto your new core support. We'll be taking off like our hood latch, and pretty much that's the only thing we're going to save off of this old support. We've got all new parts like new headlight bezels and all that kind of stuff. But if you're going to save your headlight bezels and save like your horns and stuff like that, you'll want to swap all those over onto your core support, and it's a lot easier to do when it's just on the ground. We're going to start ripping off these bolts and take this old one out. So first things first, these 3/4 bolts that are holding the core support to the frame are probably going to be an absolute bear to get off. So we've got a 1/2-inch drive extension with a swivel and then the 3/4 or a 19 on the end. So slide that in there. You'll have your buddy sitting underneath holding onto it. You want to use your breaker bar first to break it loose. So once you've broken this loose with your breaker bar, then you can grab your impact and run it the rest of the way out. So, but this is where the swivels will come in handy. Probably kind of a bear to get this out if you didn't have a swivel. Once you get your grill off and you're about ready to go, your bumper's off, you'll be able to take off your front valence. So this front valence is really easy, comes off with 3 bolts. You've got one here that ties it to the fender, 1 bolt right here in the middle, and then your last bolt on the other fender here. So rip that valence off, and that way you can slide your core support out in the front real easy. We found 2 other bolts that we forgot to mention while taking this core support off. So you've got 2 more bolts that hold the core support to the fender. They're here beside where your headlights go, just kind of up here in the top corners. Both sides, 1 on each side. So you'll have to get those out too before you can go. And you know, like when you're working on these old trucks, a lot of times, you know, something gets overlooked and you start to try and pull it off, it's not coming. Don't just yank, because there's probably another bolt. On these old trucks, I swear, they bolted them together with like 5 billion bolts. So just, you know, keep looking around. If it's not coming off for whatever reason, there might be another bolt or sheet metal screw or something around. So just keep your eyes open and you'll find it. Once you're for sure that everything's loose and ready to go, we've got some helping hands here to kind of help spread the fenders out and protect the paint. But we'll spread the fenders and pick it out. So get your friends, and now's the moment of truth. There we go. So now we're gonna start moving everything over. So we'll move over our hood latch. We'll put that one together, like the front supporting rod and the brackets, and get that one going. Most of our bolts were all in good shape, except for these were the bolts that held the core support to the frame. You can see that they are just absolutely thrashed down here along the bottom, just corroded and thrashed. Probably why they're so dang hard to get out. So we're gonna replace them with some new hardware, and that should solve a lot of problems. But most of the bolts that came out were good in the fenders and everything like that. So if in your truck your bolts are in good shape, you can reuse them. But a lot of people opt to at this time to replace all your clips and replace your bolts as well. So not a bad idea if you're doing a restoration. So we'll get that core support put back together and the new one put together and slap it back in. Alright guys, we're back. It's been a couple days since we took the core support off. We were originally planning on just putting new core support in, but then we realized it's so nice to work on the front of the truck with no core support in the way. So working on the front of the engine, we did a new AC compressor, and that was so easy with nothing in the way. We redid all of this wiring, all of the turn signal and headlight wiring, re-loomed it all, made it all look super, super nice. So it's a perfect time to do that. So if you want to refresh your truck a little bit more, get rid of your old nasty plastic loom and do some nice new fresh loom, now is the perfect time before you put your new core support in. So fresh out of the box, super, super nice. Just a nice satin black finish. It is paintable, but I like black core supports and I like everything behind the grill to be black, so we're gonna leave it just as is. The only things that it doesn't come with are some of the smaller hardware stuff. So no hardware comes with this. If your hardware from your truck is in good shape, like we said before, go ahead and reuse it. But you can get hardware. It doesn't come with like the hood stoppers, so we're gonna reuse those from our old core support. It doesn't come with your hood latch, so we're gonna also reuse that. And then it doesn't come with this front. There's a front vertical piece that goes in right here. It doesn't come with that either, so we'll reuse all of that. But besides that, the core support's super nice. Auto Metal Direct, they're a great company. It showed up super quick. It's a wonderful piece, and we're ready to get going. What we're doing here is just making sure we line up all of our holes. With your core support off, your fender's gonna sag down a little bit. So one person is picking that fender up while you're trying to line up these inner holes. Another thing that's great, that's much easier about putting back on the 84 core support, is that you have great access to these harder to reach bolts. Where on the 90s core support, we're having to use like a long extension and reach through like one of these access holes. My whole hand can just fit in here and thread these bolts in my hand, so super nice. A couple of different pry bar sizes might come in handy. But be careful when you're lifting and using your pry bar that you don't pick your fenders up too high and bonk your fender with your door all the way back there. That fender's just gonna pull back and it's gonna close up your gap. So shut your doors too. If your doors are open, you'll definitely grab something. So a couple different pry bars are gonna come in handy. Slip your 3/4 bolts back down through the core support, through that big bushing, through the frame, through the lower bushing, and then drop another bolt on. If your bushings are destroyed, you might want to replace them. Ours are still pretty decent shape, so we'll just go ahead and reuse them. And that's pretty much it. You just put the core support back on the way that you took it off. Some pry bars, some extra help, and some patience as you wiggle stuff around and try and get those holes to line up is all you really need. But now it's on, like we said before, the only thing that you really have to take off of your old core support are stuff like, you know, the hood latch, and this vertical piece is not included, and this vertical piece is your hood latch support, and it also is the center bolt for your front valence that goes back on right here. So you put your front valence back on, get your grill back on, get your bumper back on, you can slap your radiator back in, and then you're off to the races. Super nice piece. Once we, you know, move stuff around, it fits freaking phenomenal and looks just brand new, just nice and OEM. So